We'll give you your coffee.
My coffee.
Your water. I'll get my coffee.
Water.
So you know, between the two of us, Charles, we've got the 2 independent coffee shops in town covered here.
We'll get to that later because there was a huge lineup.
And I do love coffee.
Yeah, exactly. And
But you got to support the local guy.
I got to add, what goes down faster, beer or coffee?
Depends what time of day it is.
I must have went about 4 times since this morning because of coffee. Okay, never mind. We gotta focus. Okay, I have here the mayor. What do I call you? Your worship or?
You can call me Adam.
Can I call you Adam?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I don't usually shake hand of a politician. That's twice I shake your hand.
It's nice to meet you.
We never met before.
No, but I know of you.
Oh, you know of me?
Who doesn't?
Well, everything you hear about me is all true. Obnoxious, pain in the ass, loudmouth, Mr. Know-It-all. I'm not going to deny anything.
Some people might say the same thing about me, Charles.
We will soon find out. How, by the way, speaking of, have you seen some of my videos?
I have. I mean, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, you have a long line of interviewing Miramichiers. I think you've done a lot of work with Bill Fraser in the past, and I see Michelle in a lot of your videos now. So you've got a connection to the Miramichi. Are you from Miramichi?
No, just know somebody. If I want to escape Fredericton,
yes.
Miramichi, come here. And oh, by the way, we don't support the Irving media. I got this downstairs.
Oh, is it a tourism? That's going to tell you all the wonderful things you can do in Miramichi this summer.
The river, the people, the history, explore, experience, and enjoy all that Miramichi has to offer. Pat Finnegan, he's a good MP. He's good.
He's great to work with.
Nice guy. Very, very open. Now, this is not going to be like, oh, how good is the Miramichi? Oh, please, what else can we do? Is there good fishing here? No, that's too boring. You know, we're just going to, and the rules are simple in this one. You're the first politician first time I sat down and never talked to. If you don't like it, we don't use it. Simple. Okay. That's the way I operate. Number 1, okay, who are you?
Who am I?
Yeah.
Well, I'm many things. Thank you for asking.
You got mayor.
I'm the mayor of Miramichi now.
Because Jeremy Cormier suddenly died. I filmed him 12 days before he died.
Really?
Him and Bill. Okay, trying to focus. So you got mayor. Were you elected since?
Yes, I was. Yeah. Okay. So I was. Well, you know, first of all, I guess I'll quickly start. I'm from Miramichi, born and raised in Chatham. Grew up here. Graduated from James M. Hill High School. I went to university in Halifax. I spent most of my 20s living and working in Toronto as a film director and producer with CTV. The CTV television station. I worked on the national news, on the Marilyn Dennis show, MTV, Much Music, So You Think You Can Dance.
So why you talk? See, I interviewed Steve Murphy once.
Yes.
One thing I noticed, he never looked at me. He looked at the camera. Yeah, so that's what
I'm trying not to be rude. I'll split my time. So I did come home 5 years ago. Hard to believe now, 5 years ago this August, because my mom, who was a city councilor, she was the first female deputy mayor of the community, was diagnosed with terminal cancer. So I gave up my job at CTV and came home to be with her. She was a single mom who raised the 3 of us, me, my brother, and my sister. My brother and sister were living in Calgary at the time. I was in Toronto.
Still alive?
No, unfortunately. She passed away 3 months after I got home.
How old?
55. Too young. Way too young, and but we had some great time together when I came back for a few months, and then actually how I got involved was she was on council when she passed away, and they did a by-election for her
So you took over
the last year of her second 4-year term. So I thought it would be a special thing to do, to offer to fill her seat for the last year of her term. I used to come home and help her with her campaigns, and it was always something we worked together on, and help her with ideas for moving the city forward. So I was passionate, and I thought it would be special, so I did that. And then I re-offered in the general election in 2016. Got the most votes, became deputy mayor, and of course then very tragically Jerry passed away, and I became acting mayor. So it was, it's not, I guess I did not plan to be in this role, certainly at this moment, but but it's an exciting time in the community, and I've been really enjoying being the mayor and helping to move the community
It's public
forward.
knowledge anyway. How much this job pays a year?
Oh, not very much. This about $35,000 a year
Really?
for this job.
And you are, do you know what a politician is?
Well, I do.
What is it? One word.
Oh.
2 words.
Words I can say on camera? No, I'm
Yeah.
just kidding. You know, I think we've got a problem because there's a perception problem for politicians.
Politician is a walking psychiatrist. They listen and listen and listen and listen and listen. They don't do nothing, but they're good listeners. Me, I can't be a politician because I can't keep my mouth shut. You have to listen and listen. That's what a politician.
You do have to listen, but you also then have to go get the work done. So you know there are
That's the problem there.
a lot of different layers to the roles, to the jobs, and listening to people is a very, very important
Oh, yes.
part of it.
Oh,
But
yeah.
also, you know, in a leadership role like being a mayor or a premier, your job is to bring people together to get things done as well.
So we got that there. I'm sorry if I'm going to butt in.
You go ahead. It's your show.
No, it's not. It's a two-way street here. Okay. Where does the name Miramichi come from?
Well, it is a Mi'kmaq word. It's an indigenous word, which we've kept. So yeah, you know, in some other parts of the province,
Yeah.
they
many.
They took the indigenous names away.
Mermancook, that's where I'm from.
I'm very proud that the Miramichi is identified
What does it
by its
mean?
original name. I should have studied up. I've been
You're
told.
the mayor, you know what it means? Okay.
I think it has something to do with the people in the river, but I certainly I admit that I can't exactly remember.
I thought I heard it has to be river. Mermancook, it means crooked river. And Miramichi, I did hear, I think the word thunder. That's what I hear, the word thunder. There could be some heavy thunder here.
We'll have to look that up.
Look that up.
Maybe you can put up a little bubble on the screen that says.
Once this appears, you can. Oh, by the way, Charles, here's an update.
Yes,
I
by
went
the
to
way, here's
Google.
what it
I
is.
went
Yes,
to Google,
I
and
called
this is
my
what I
friends
got.
and
Hey,
figured it out.
where's your smartphone is right there.
Yes, I know. I left I can't even save myself.
That's all right. Okay, Chatham. What does that mean?
Chatham. Well, I'll tell you what it means to me.
No. What does the word? Where'd the word come from?
Oh my gosh, Charles!
Again?
I didn't know this was going to be a history test.
Yeah, but it's for this is to educate me on what's going on here.
Well, what's going on now? I can tell you all about the origins of the names. Not as much, but would you like me to tell you what's going on now?
Later.
Okay.
Douglastown. Do you know what that means?
Okay, Charles. I'm going to just make a blanket statement that
Honesty.
I do
That's
not
what I like.
know the origins of these words.
Okay, that's all right. You'll find out.
I
and
will
you can
find out.
leave it
But there
alone.
are a lot of wonderful, amazing people in this community who are the keepers of our history.
Oh, yes.
And I work closely with those folks, and I let them tell the stories because they do it better than I ever could.
And you will find out. You educate
But
yourself.
I will tell the stories of now, and they will tell the stories of the past.
Okay, Miramichi. Now a lot of history here. I wish I would have had Jerry Cormier. I mean, I was close, and I thought I'll get him next time. And hindsight is a terrible thing. But the Acadians, he was an Acadian, Cormier, and the first Acadian to be elected mayor, I think.
Absolument, oui.
C'est bon. And the Irish came here, and the Acadians were forced in the woods. You know, forced back.
Yes.
And then there's a lot of history here.
Yes,
And the natives,
just to be clear, it was not the Irish who forced the Acadians into the deportation
you know that
camps.
one.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
The deportation, we know that in
it was-
1755,
yeah.
we know what happened there.
Yeah.
But afterward, when the Irish didn't they come here?
Many of the Irish were effectively refugees of the potato famine period. So, and in fact, my ancestors were some of those people, and they, of course, were quarantined on Middle Island. There was a lot of disease, a lot of death. So,
That's the island right there.
Well, further down, just on the other side of the big bridge. But I guess I wouldn't characterize it as the Irish displacing really anybody,
No.
As they were also refugees.
Okay,
Yeah.
but the Acadians, we had a rough go.
Oh my
like
God!
everybody.
There's no denying that. Yeah.
But
No, and
anyway.
what happened to the Acadians was awful
Oh yeah,
and unacceptable.
There's no question about it. But there's a lot of culture here, a lot of history, and lumber was the number one
Absolutely. Yeah. Shipbuilding
shipbuilding.
up at Beaubears Island.
Wheat and all
And around the community.
everything,
Yeah.
wood and everything. And now all the paper mill all shut down. So how the Miramichi is a lot of brand new cars going around, very busy. I mean, if you go to
yes, the economy is in a very good place. And you know, Charles, we have to. You're right, and just in our community, as in many communities, you know, over time, the primary economies shift, right? So we know, of course, we had a moment of wooden shipbuilding, which really doesn't exist anymore. And for a lot of years, for a couple generations, and including when I grew up, the pulp and paper mills were what sustained our local economy. And we know now that those mills have, a lot of them have closed. We still have one in the city and a couple in the region, and we hope that there'll be more. But we also have to recognize that putting all your eggs in any one economic basket is not a good strategy.
Could be a disaster.
Right?
And that's what happened.
And so we're very fortunate a few years ago, and not just with the closures of the mills, but with the closure of the base as well. There's been a lot of loss in my life growing up here. But a number of years ago, we were very fortunate, and I would thank former MP Tilly O'Neill Gordon for her work in securing the Federal Pay Center, which has become the new economic base of the community.
How many?
Was supposed to be about 600. They're at over 900 in the community, and a few other hundred across the country.
And high-paying job at that.
Good paying jobs, absolutely. That's the new foundation, and what we've seen over the last number of years is that that's allowed for other economic growth in the community as well. You look around the community, more and more young entrepreneurs are fixing up buildings and opening new businesses. We've got these beautiful coffee shops, yoga studios, home decor stores, the type of things that the new generation of residents are looking for. We also, as a mayor and council, said when we came in that we were going to be very friendly and aggressive at trying to recruit the cannabis industry. So the legalization of cannabis is not our decision.
Smoke marijuana?
That's a federal.
I
do not right now.
I do not right now. What kind of political answer is that? That's like Bill Clinton.
Yes.
Oh, I puff, but I never inhale it.
I mean, have I in the past? Absolutely.
Of course.
You know?
We all did.
That's right.
Yeah.
But what we have done is set our sights on this industry, and we currently have 2 cannabis production facilities being built in the community that will employ at least 50 people.
That cannabis, New Brunswick, the store is always empty, parking lot.
Well, you know,
people, no potheads here in Miramichi.
Well, I can't speak to that, but Charles, as you know, just because you produce the cannabis in Miramichi doesn't mean you have to sell it in Miramichi. So, in fact, at least one of these companies is talking about exporting it globally. They've got big plans. So this is a big success to have 2 of these large-scale production facilities being built in the community. So I think we've done a good job of diversifying the economy, and quite honestly, this feels like the best economy we've had potentially in my lifetime, certainly in the last 20 years.
Okay, 12 minutes. Thank you. It was nice to meet you.
Oh, that's it. We're going.
No. You think there's still some people watching this? 13 minutes?
Maybe.
Okay, maybe there's 2.
You're big fans.
Maybe there's 2.
We're going to get to the really good stuff now.
Oh, yeah. It's getting there. This is like a waltz, you know. Just
so you can tell I work in television, right? It's always about what's coming up.
Yeah, exactly. It's, slowly but surely. And Miramichi, so what council? Mm-hmm. What year did they come together, Chatham and Newcastle?
The city was amalgamated in 95.
95 with Frank McKenna.
I was in grade 5.
You were in grade. I'm getting old. I feel like Kevin Vickers. I remember Frank McKenna. I'm getting old. Okay. When they forced to get together, is there still a conflict between Chatham and Newcastle?
I don't think so. I mean, there are certainly older folks in the community who, maybe still have those viewpoints, but for the rest of us...
The old fist fight there. That's what used to be my mom cooked, same thing there across the river.
I just really don't think that is who we are anymore. If you look at, for example, my generation, so we grew up, we grew up playing hockey together. We grew up, doing different activities together. And certainly as a mayor and council, we view this as one city. And if you look at the election results from 2016, It was the first election in the city's history where it was basically the same people that received the top amount of votes in every part of the city. So to me, that says that we're all thinking as one now, and I'm really glad that that's where we are. So again, it's not everybody, but overwhelmingly and more every day, we're all looking at ourselves as one. I mean, quite honestly, we're not big enough to look at ourselves as piles. We have to get out of that sandbox silo mentality, not just as a city, but with the communities around us, and even in the whole province. I mean, the world is so global today that we are not competing with Bathurst. Bathurst and Miramichi are working together to compete against the whole world.
What's his name again? I can't say it. Every time I see him.
Mayor Paulo?
What's his name again?
Mayor Paulo Fongemi.
I always tell him, what's your name again? What's your name again? I can't, I interviewed him
He's
once.
a very smart man as well.
Yeah, very good. Newcastle, where does that come from?
Newcastle. Oh, geez.
Again?
I thought we already did this, Charles.
I just thought about it, Newcastle. You know where Chatham is?
Well, yes, that's where I grew up.
That's where you grew up. I took a wrong turn the other day, and I seen somebody, a woman with a dog, and then I hollered. I said, "Appear in front of council." I went. What's that place called? Oh, Queen Street.
Oh yes.
I don't know nobody on Queen Street. Just for the record.
I live around the corner on Howard Street.
So you know where Queen Street is?
Yes.
What a disaster! I just took a turn. It was just like a roller coaster ride. What's the roads?
Well, you know, Charles,
what's going on?
I mean, this is obviously a topic of great interest in the community, in every community. And, Miramichi has challenges as it relates to sustaining all of our infrastructure. Miramichi is the second largest geographical city in the province.
Is it?
We have the second most amount of roads to maintain, but we have the fifth largest population. And I'll tell you right now, we understand it all comes down to money and government. It always does. In our time as a mayor and council, myself and the current council, we've doubled the amount of money we spend every year on fixing up roads.
Yeah.
We also have a criteria, and the roads that are done each year is set or recommended to council by the engineering department based on criteria, like how many people use the road. Queen Street is in very, very bad condition.
How do we say that? Maybe this could be bilingual, French and English.
Quel horreur.
No, I have. Oh, duh.
But one of the challenges with Queen Street, and just so you'll know, is that there are many streets, especially in our two downtown cores, that there requires to be work on the water and wastewater piping below the roads. So those projects, of course, cost a lot more money, and we can only do one or two of those a year. So last summer, we did Princess Street, which is right beside Queen Street.
Oh, is it? Okay.
This is all in my neighborhood, so I know this. And this year we're doing George Street. I believe it is Queen Street that is slated for next year. So any citizen can call the engineering department, and this list of, in particular, the big redos that we have to do the water and wastewater under the road as well as the road. There's a 5-year list of when these things are planned to be done.
5 years.
So for the residents of Queen Street, I can tell you honestly, you're on the list in the next year or two to be done. And for me, I like to make fact-based, data-based decisions in government. And so when the engineers tell us that this is the right order based on the condition of the roads, based on who uses the roads, based on a number of criteria, I will take the engineer's recommendation.
And just for the record, I do not know anyone on Queen Street. I just took a wrong turn, and then I said, what?
Yes.
What the hell is this? And that's the worst street I've ever seen.
You can come back in 2 years.
2 years, okay.
And we'll walk, and you can meet me at my home, and we'll walk down the new Queen Street.
Good. You don't know me too well because I'm Scottish. My mother's from Glasgow, Scotland. That's where.
Okay. My mom has Scottish ancestry as well.
My mother is half pure Scottish. She came from Glasgow, landed here when she was 15 years old, and my father is a pure Acadian, ADHD Acadian. So this is a gene that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. Because it's not, my problem is not ADHD sometimes, blah, 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 but stubborn. So we don't forget. So when you tell me 2 years, I'll show up right at your door with the camera. I say, excuse me, what
Yes.
happened to Queen Street?
I'll look forward to it. I'll give you a house tour.
Speaking of Chatham, the old train station.
Yes.
I just happened to go there a couple of days ago. Do you see that Facebook Miramichi on, what is it, Miramichi photo on Facebook? Pictures of Miramichi.
Oh, the beautiful pictures of
Yeah.
Miramichi. I do follow a couple of the groups of, I forget the names, but of beautiful, yeah. And you know, that's because it's important to celebrate the positive things.
But unfortunately, some people are not too happy because I show up with my negative. I took a picture of the old train station.
Mm-hmm.
I said, can you give me an update? Yes, it was a
Yes.
fire last year.
Yes, yeah.
And it was a restaurant, I think, or a lounge.
It was closed at the time, but
It was closed at the time?
But it had previously been a restaurant and bar. Yeah.
Update. It's it's an eyesore.
Look, it's in the paper today, Charles.
What paper?
The Miramichi Leader. There's an update.
With the what?
The Miramichi Leader.
Let's see. Let me educate you.
Oh, okay.
It's called the Fredericton Irving paper,
Mm-hmm.
the Moncton Irving paper, the Campbellton Irving paper, the St. John Irving paper, the Miramichi Irving paper. There, do you understand what we're talking about here?
Well, so you don't read the paper. Okay.
No, I do read the paper, but it's called the Miramichi Irving paper.
Okay. Well,
It was where? It was where?
Of course it's privately owned.
Um,
So the only person
Good.
who knows what the private landowner is going to do is the private landowner. So I would suggest you contact Mr. Hashi.
You don't know? You're the mayor.
Well, you know, private businesses don't tell the mayor everything that they're doing.
Yes.
Some of them do, and you know, we look forward to a renewal in that area. As you know, if you looked around the corner, we're in the middle of a $7 million rebuild of Station Wharf and Station Pier, just on the other side of the former train station, the former Choo Choo's building. We're really excited about that project. In my lifetime, Station Wharf, I've only
Is that what
known
you call it? Station Wharf?
Station Wharf. I've only known it to be a rundown wharf falling into the river.
What's that street where Tim Horton is?
Water Street.
I love that.
Thank you. Well, I was just going to say, you
No,
know, maybe you could say something about what you like about Miramichi.
I think tonight, of course, it's not. Hey, it's beautiful here.
Yes.
It's beautiful. Just there's a few issues, and it's like
Yeah.
You know what I'm going to do? As a matter of fact, I'm going to do that tonight if it doesn't rain. I have to go down Water Street at night.
Yes.
Well,
do.
you have all the lampposts there, and it must be
Also,
beautiful.
right here, you know, we're looking out the window of my office into Queen Elizabeth Square, which is another project that we've completely renewed and renovated that park a couple of years ago.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And there are beautiful lights. You can kind of see them in the trees.
Yeah.
So when you walk around the square at night, it's quite lovely.
There was a part. Have you seen me with my opinions on the mayor of Fredericton?
I have not.
He's a, but I won't say it. Officer Square, Fredericton, beautiful. I mean, it was a beautiful place. Now they want to destroy the trees and change it into put a stage and everything. Moncton last summer, with those people in Moncton that had a nice part, and they said, "Oh, can't have the trees." Because there's prostitutes, there's drugs at night. They hide under the trees.
Oh.
Now, could you imagine Queen Elizabeth, and they used to be, I guess, they cut all the trees down here, then they regrow. This is one of the most beautiful, relaxing place that I have ever seen in my life.
We're going to put you in the tourism material.
No, but it's true.
It is true. I agree.
Where else can you sit
and you know,
down?
so you're right. And just to make the point too, we have obviously we've got a major challenge in climate change and global warming.
Clear cutting.
And it is hot.
Clear cutting.
And it is hot.
Clear cutting.
These days.
Oh,
So if you're going to use a
Shade.
public space,
Shade.
you need trees. You need shade.
And so there's no way as mayor you will order those trees to be cut off.
Absolutely not. Now, I'll admit, Charles, and this is public knowledge, we took a couple of the trees out because you need to have trees but you need also not to have too much clutter. So I think we've found a nice balance.
Beautiful. It's beautiful. You go at Tim Horton or Coffee Mill. Where's the one you get there?
Creative Grounds. You've got the Mill Cove.
You sit down, relax, enjoy. It's beautiful. And
that's what it's all about, and that's what's a big passion for me. I don't want to cut you off, but
go ahead.
Downtown, the renewal of our downtowns has been and remains a huge priority for me. As a community, our downtowns are where we gather, and we want them to be more friendly and inviting for people to come down, get out of the car, walk around, enjoy the coffee shops, enjoy the parks, run into their neighbors.
You know what was the worst eyesore last summer? Sorry to cut you off again.
Yes.
You know what was the worst eyesore?
It's equal.
And I blogged it too. See that there?
The post office?
Yeah, it was in front of the post office.
Oh, the flagpole.
Jeez.
Yes.
Right. Remember?
Yes.
It was all rusted. It was all red. Remember?
Yeah.
I said to myself, "What?"
No, I do think it's important.
I knew it's right outside of your office. Didn't you find that disgusting when you saw that?
Well, I'll tell you.
You could still see the rust.
I think that we should
maybe
have.
we should get some sandpaper.
I think in any community, we should. It shouldn't be unrealistic to expect people to maintain their property.
Again.
And as a city, I think this city, our city, did not have a great track record of maintaining our own public spaces.
Okay.
So we have invested significantly in renewing most of the public spaces in this term.
Yeah.
And because we can't go after people for not maintaining their property if we are not maintaining our own property.
Agree.
So we have done a great job of doing that. And now we're looking at how can we incentivize people to fix up their properties? How can we in fact enforce that they do that? Because when you have a rundown building in the heart of our downtown, it reflects on all of us.
Yes.
A rundown building or a rundown flagpole, and at the very least, we expect people to take pride in our community and take pride in their property.
I think we have enough problems beside the flagpole. But anyway,
absolutely.
The looks. By the way, the way you talk, you plan to run for politics in the future?
I believe I am in politics now.
I know, provincially, federally.
Perhaps in the future. I have no plans to do that actively, Charles.
Mm-hmm.
I love the job that I have now. Mm-hmm. I feel like, as you know, and I know it's a bit cliche, obviously municipal government is the closest to the people. We're in the community.
My sidewalk is not being shoveled.
And I feel like this is where right now I enjoy being where I'm needed and where I'm having an impact in improving the lives of the citizens in this community. We're renewing this community. It's a very exciting time in Miramichi. I hope to be here in this role, in this job, for a while longer. And in the meantime, as I mentioned, I'm a film producer, I'm an entrepreneur, and I love, I don't know where I'll go in the future. I know that hopefully for me, what's important is making a difference in my community and feeling fulfilled.
Federal, they're not running this next federal election for the PC?
I am not running this next federal election for anybody.
For anybody?
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
So you can rely. You're going to have a good summer. You're not going to go door to door. You're not running. All right.
Not federally and not now.
There, we got an announcement. There, that's it. No, not yet. So we're going to shut this off? No.
But we're going to have a great summer in the community. I mean, summer's the best around here. There's always so many festivals. There's lots to do. I don't know have you ever been on our zip line?
No.
Well, we
What's
actually the zip line, the Over the Cove zip line at French Fort Cove. It was a city initiative. We built that a couple summers ago. It's the longest zip line in the Maritimes, actually, and it's also the cheapest.
It is. How much it costs?
$20 for someone like yourself.
Someone like
unless you're a senior, but I won't take your ID.
I thought bloggers will be going there for free, and with luck. Somebody could have a pair of scissors and poof. But I'm a frog. I can swim. It goes over the lake.
If you'd like to blog going over it, I'm sure I can get you in. We'll go together. We could go tandem.
I shall. You know what? That zip thing, I was asked to go and I didn't. Have you been to La Gaspésie? We're jumping here. We're going to jump for 30 seconds. La Gaspésie?
In Quebec?
Yeah.
But not totally.
I went there last year. Somebody bought me there. Oh my God! Went around the Gaspé. Beautiful. And Percé. La Roche Percé.
Okay, no.
And it's.
I've not been to that area.
You have to. It's the unknown treasure. People go to Cape Breton, but there, and so they had the zip thing from the Roche Passé there, right down the hill. They asked me if I want to go on it.
But you can't. No.
No, but I went on the glass thing. You
Okay.
can see below. Oh, it's scary. But anyway, we're jumping here. See, ADHD. My third coffee.
It's not
so you
kicking
can
in yet,
tell.
or maybe it is.
Okay, now, Miramichi, I didn't know this. There's, what do you call it again?
The over the cove zip line.
Zip line, that's,
at French Fork Cove, and really, like, that's another area of the community where
and
we've
there's a covered bridge there.
where we've invested and we've fixed up the trails. Last year we added a biking skills park
Yeah,
for
biking.
mountain bikers.
That's a big hill there.
And more, there are more and more mountain bikers. Of course, the trails were fixed up for the Jeux de la Cadie last summer,
Yeah.
and now that's a bit of a legacy in the community that's come out of that. We've added the skills park. There are canoes, kayaks, and paddle boats in the water there as well. So we've really created an outdoor, family-friendly space at French Fork Cove where a family can go and spend an afternoon.
30 minutes. Might be. Okay, one person left, and we're getting to the itty-gritty. All right. Sadly, 30 minutes. It's okay. We have...
Time flies when you're having fun,
Oh,
Charles.
yes. And media only comes here when it's, like, unfortunately, the tragedy that happened there a few months ago with those 4 kids. Then the media focus, just like batters, when those van crash with basketball team. And unfortunately, it's a tragedy or something that's bad that attracts the outside media to a small community. Sorry, that's the way it is. And we had a problem with less fortunate. What happened to they were forced to leave that building, those 50 people.
Yeah.
And drugs and homelessness. We have a problem. And like any other community, there's a problem. Now, I hear there's no men's shelter here. I just found this out last week. Is that true?
I believe that is true, yeah.
There's only a shelter for female.
There's an emergency center for women.
Where's
Yeah.
that? Which city? Chatham?
It's in Miramichi.
Anyway, it's
We
here
are one
somewhere.
city,
Okay,
yes.
okay, but is it that side of the river?
It's just down the river here on the north side.
on north side. All right.
Yeah.
And how many can it hold?
I wouldn't have an exact number. I wouldn't want to be. I believe it's around 19 or 20.
19, 20, okay.
But I could certainly put you in contact with them.
That's in you. You're the mayor. That's another thing. You can leave a comment. Okay. How come we don't have a men's shelter?
Well, to be honest with you, Charles, there are a number of layers to this issue, if you don't mind. There's always been a bit of a need. Of course, as you know, shelters and housing are not the direct jurisdiction of the municipality. It doesn't mean that we don't care. We do care. And in fact, we've been getting more involved in these issues.
You have to, because it affects you big time.
Absolutely. And so that's why we've been, and when we are not seeing the results in the investments and the strategies by the other levels of government that are supposed to be responsible for this, as the level of government closest to the people, we need to be involved.
Yep.
So we have been involved. I've been very involved in the issue and the event with Cole Crescent and helping to find a location for a shelter and find another location. But these are things that outside of one incident, we have to take a step back and have a plan for. So when I talk to social development, the reps there, the current plan to deal with homelessness in this community, as I understand it, has been to give people a bus ticket to Moncton to go to a shelter there. Well, I'm not really sure.
Shelter to Moncton.
I do not believe
Is that somebody from social development said that?
that is what they've told us. Yes. So
What?
I do not.
You're not serious.
I do not believe
You're not serious.
that is the best plan to deal with homelessness in this community.
Again, duh.
Right?
Hold it. Sorry,
Yeah.
you got me going there. And not you, but the issue. Social development said, take a homeless person, give them a bus ticket, and go to Moncton, to the shelter in Moncton. Miramichi is pretty far from here.
Yes.
Yes. Pretty far.
But I think my understanding, Charles, is that it's because the issue has been getting I don't want to say worse, but it's become more top of mind. It's happening more frequently.
Yes.
So now
It's gonna get worse.
now it's time for our community to come together and come up with a local strategy. And I look forward to being a part of that.
You don't agree
But-
with that, though, do you?
What's that?
Brendan Mountain?
No, I just said I don't.
No, we're going, no, sorry.
Are you listening or?
My ADHD always. Turd, okay.
So,
go ahead. I'll shut.
but what we do need to also address is affordable housing in this community. And listen, I represent New Brunswick on the Federation of Canadian Municipalities.
Oh.
It's a national association of municipal leaders of communities much smaller than us and much bigger than us. Affordable housing and a lack of housing in general are issues in communities across this country of all sizes. So we need more housing built in this community. We have a 1% vacancy rate in this city. We need especially more affordable housing built. So we're working very hard right now to understand the new federal and provincial plans and to attract developers to build what we need in this community.
Fredericton, they always say, we see the politicians say, oh, we need affordable housing. I realized after they had out of the cold shelter, remember last winter and all that, and I seen a lot, I watch a lot, and a lot of these people were brought up that if you went like this, that's assault. You know, you can't, us were brought up, you know, like, you can't touch them, they'll phone 911, and then, so they're brought up, no discipline whatsoever, and they think the world owns them. Not all of them. And then you got the drug issue. And they say affordable housing, but these people can't take care of themselves. How are they going to take care of a place? You know, that's the problem I'm seeing.
Well, these are very broad societal challenges and issues, Charles, and they're not going to be solved by any one level of government, and they're not going to be solved overnight. Which is why we need all levels of government working together on the social challenges and issues that we face. Right?
Jail is not the place.
No, and you know, that's a very antiquated model of dealing with the drug issue, right? Enforcement, the war on drugs, it hasn't worked and it won't work. I actually attended at the last FCM conference earlier this month in Quebec City, a session on the drug crisis across the country. And there was one particular gentleman, he was the deputy police chief of the city of Peterborough, I believe, and a leading mind on this issue. But ultimately, you know, there are no easy answers. There is no quick soundbite of what's going to work. But ultimately, it starts with education. It starts with getting to our children before they get onto that path, right? And teaching them the critical skills required, conflict resolution, dealing with mental health issues, and getting to them and educating them on these things before they get into the drugs.
We force them on Ritalin, and look what happens.
Once they're in the system and addicted, it is a much more difficult path. So prevention has to be a huge focus. And then we also have to deal with people.
So how we're going to do it here? How many people do you think in Miramichi that's not high on crystal meth?
Listen, like we have an issue, as does every community.
Yeah, I know,
right?
Fredericton, they're walking around right on the street. We have a problem.
It is a national crisis.
Some people say, oh, we're behind the time. Quebec, Ontario, and Quebec, they've been having that for years. Hey, New Brunswick, you're just gotta.
I mean, that's a very
catch up. I think that's selfish,
cynical,
I don't like that.
and flippant view of something that's very serious, in my opinion. Look, we need a community like ours. There is a community group. In fact, we've invited them to come to council. That's been meeting. They are building a strategy and a plan, and we look forward to hearing what they're doing and being a part of that. It's going to take, in any community, all of the stakeholders. It's not going to be just the city. It's not going to be just the police. It's not going to be just social development or public health. Everybody's got to work together. And as I said, there's got to be money spent. So maybe you can tell your buddies in the provincial government that they need to spend money to fix this issue.
It's like, but my buddies in the provincial government, as a matter of fact, there's a buddy this morning I was blasting on Facebook chat. It's like, It's so a small issue. You have a
Look, you
female-
can't download these issues to the municipalities and say, "Hey, look, it's your problem,"
No,
without giving
by
us the
the way,
financial support to help deal with those issues.
First, focus on Queen Street, and then you could focus on the drug issue. Zing! I had to put that.
Listen,
in there.
I can focus on more than one thing at once, my friend.
Don't you love these ADHD? And you must have ADHD too. You can focus on 5 different things. The female prison, the provincial jail.
Yes.
That's just a small issue right there. They bring them from Fredericton. They put the female. They put them in there for unpaid fine for panhandling, or St. John if you're a male. And then when they're done, walk home. Walk home. They don't bring you back to Fredericton.
I've heard that. Yeah.
What in a snowstorm? And the minister announced that focus. But
Yes.
issues like that, just a small one. The sheriff will go into Fredericton anyway. Bring them back. But no. So you have issues with people with mental illness and drug addicts or whatever, and then they're sort of like Fredericton is saying, "Hey, you might get lucky if they're transferred to Chediac or St. John, Miramichi. They might stay there. They might stay in Miramichi." You know what I mean? And it's all little stuff like that. There's no communication. So who's on?
I mean,
who do you talk to that's around this table and say, "Well, I have an idea of this is what should be done." But there's nobody like me. We don't want nobody like me at a meeting anyway, because as you can tell, I can't shut up. But long enough to listen to other people. Anyway, did I make sense what I said?
well, I mean, I think what you're getting at, and which I would agree with, is like, well, obviously we have to have local strategies and have everybody engage locally.
Yeah.
But we also need the engagement of the provincial government and of and even the federal government. So, I'm a big believer in best practices. So if something is working very well in another community, then we can learn from that. And
Which committee is that now?
And we can cater it. Well, it depends.
St. Petersburg?
Everybody is doing something well, and everybody could be doing something better. So when we decide that we want to build, for example, we've built an immigration strategy, a population and immigration strategy to sustain and grow our population, which, by the way, is probably the biggest threat that New Brunswick is facing, is a population crisis and a labor force shortage. So we took the population plans of St. John and Moncton, and we looked at those, and we customized one that will work for us and our local needs, because we're not St. John, we're not Moncton, but they build excellent plans that we can learn from and build from. So that's just one example, and others have done the same with what Miramichi is doing. So when we are sharing information, I work closely with all of the city mayors and with reps of all communities across the province. We need to be talking to each other. So if somebody has proven results in dealing with homelessness, in dealing with the drug issue, we got to listen to them, and we've got to export that across the province. But the provincial government should be playing a role in that too.
When's the last time Blaine Higgs was in this office?
Well, I don't know. It certainly wasn't while I was here.
Oh, really?
As you know,
are you inviting the premier?
I would absolutely. I have a meeting request already into the premier to discuss our multiplex project.
But you don't have no MLAs. That's PC. You have.
Oh, well, Minister Stewart is.
Harris, huh?
Minister Stewart is our Miramichi regional minister, and I work closely with him and his assistant, Jake. Yes. Yes. But I have met the premier in Fredericton, and a month ago or 2 months ago now, I've sent a letter of request for a new meeting to discuss our multiplex project, because he was in the Irving Miramichi paper making comments about our project that were not true, that were in fact throwing dirt on our project, and that were very inaccurate. So he either was intentionally sullying our project, or he did not read our proposal. But either way, I have asked him to meet, and I'm waiting to hear back.
You sure you're liberal? Then you have to be.
I'm not. I'm not invite. I am not.
The way you just spoke your little speech, you sound like a liberal.
Well, what I'll tell you, Charles, is that the previous premier never was in this office either, and I also could not get a meeting with him.
Brian Gallant was never here.
No. So
you didn't jog around the
so
square
listen,
with the shorts and physique.
I am not a member of any political party. It is my job as the mayor to hold the premier accountable and make sure he understands what our city's priorities are, regardless of what party that premier is for.
I'll see what I can do. Maybe.
Please get me a meeting.
I'll get you.
Yes. Listen, Charles.
I'll ask him.
As I mentioned, I'm a fact-based politician, a fact-based mayor, and I want to get things done in my community. And sometimes you need to talk to the premier to do that.
And in 2 years from now, Queen Street will be fixed.
And I said the same things about the previous premier that I say about this one. And I don't think it should be so hard for a mayor in this province to get a meeting with a premier.
Why can't you get a meeting? You're the mayor.
You're going to have to ask him that.
I don't get it.
And ask Gallant the same question.
Gallant, no. Who? McKenna, have you seen him around?
I have met Mr. McKenna, yeah.
Yeah, I flew. I was very close with Frank before the information highway.
So you're a liberal.
Here I go, Kevin Vickers again. I remember. Well, don't answer that. I remember when I did this. I did. Liberal? No. You see, I think we're different here. I've been watching. By the way, give me an update for the high school, the James Hill, the people that staying there.
They're still there, yeah.
How many there?
I think it's been around 15.
15.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I've been watching Michelle Conroy.
Yes.
And I've been watching her last week there. The way she was going, we did an interview, me and her, and then looking around and left the annual general meeting of the People Alliance in Fredericton to come here for that.
Yeah.
And you know what? You look at her and you look at David Kuhn from the Green Party.
Mm-hmm.
Really, you don't have to answer this. That's me talking here. Sorry, taking a lot. But it don't really matter which political party that the MLA represent, conservative or liberal. She's doing good work.
She is, yeah.
And David Kuhn is doing good work.
I think that you're right. Well, there are two components, right? We elect an individual, a person, and we elect a party with them if it's provincial or federal. Michelle's done great work. I was working very closely with Michelle, finding solutions to the shelter issues.
It was emergency.
I don't have an executive assistant with a big blog that will put out a press release talking about how hard I'm working on it.
I just found out. Go ahead. I just found out last week who her executive assistant was. I said, what?
That's right.
Same one that ran for mayor. Oh yeah. What's his name again? Never mind. Okay.
But I don't want to take away from Michelle and the great work that she's doing in that regard.
Yeah.
Right. And David Kuhn's the same thing. And I think for younger generations, or for all generations, we're cynical about traditional political parties. We're cynical about the self-interest of politicians who just want to have power for the sake of power.
Yeah.
This is one of the things I love about being in municipal politics is that I'm not here to serve a party. I'm here to serve the people. And everybody around my table
You're repeating yourself.
Only here to serve the people.
Yeah,
but you asked the questions. Yeah. You're repeating yourself with the questions.
I'm guilty. Okay. But it's true. So the person represents the people. The MLA that's elected by the people.
That's right. But the danger sometimes, Charles, is that those people are attached to parties. So for somebody like me, I'm not going to name parties or issues, but what is one of the most important issues?
We don't want the premier to come here, so
and I'm actually going to go federal. Okay, so as a voter, one of the most important issues to me is the environment, and we have to be aggressively tackling climate change. This is real; it's scientifically provable. That's not going to do it alone, right? There needs to be a global focus on addressing this issue. So if we could have a great person locally running for a party that does not have a plan for climate change, then I might think that that's a great person, but I can't vote for that party, right? So we need both. We need parties with good policies and plans, and we need great people locally that are on offer and on the ballot.
Good policy and plan.
Miramichi
River. Good people. Miramichi River. What a fantastic place. Fantastic view.
Yes.
Now, you invite business to come here, development to want to develop around. What's that word? What they use? When you dig for history, say for me.
Archaeology.
Yes, thank you. Do you agree that any development that's done to work with the people and everything, they should really do one for the natives? Because the natives were here first, and they, by the river, they must have been here 500, 600, 700 years ago. Do they really do a study? They do the dig and what do you call it? Archaeological
dig.
Study and digging. What do you think of that?
I'm not quite sure I totally understand what you mean.
You have a land, okay, built there.
Yep.
Okay, now before you built there, we're gonna have a team of people from Red Bank
Right.
to come here.
Metapanaghiag.
Or here, yeah. What do you call it?
Metapanaghiag.
That's Ilran, right?
That is the indigenous name of Red
Red
Bank.
Bank, is it? And Ilran, is it?
Natawaganang.
Well, you're pretty good. Now maybe you'll find out the name, what Miramichi means. Okay, dig. So,
You can't win with this guy, really.
It's good. But they should have people from there to, or whatever, to go and do a
Well,
survey.
I mean,
What do you think?
I'd ask them. You know, if you're redeveloping, and that's a big focus right now in this community. If you're redeveloping an existing site where something is already built, then I'm not sure if that is a requirement. But I think if you're looking to build in a new area, certainly in an area where there's an indigenous connection, and that's something that they would expect, then I think that should be something that we look into. But this is, I believe that the policies and processes of how to do that are provincial in nature, and I'm not entirely familiar with them. So I'd love to have a look at the current policy to be able to comment on it.
So if the premier, not the premier, but a native walks in here and says, I want to talk to you about...
Listen, if any person walks into here and wants to talk to me, look, we're at 51 minutes. I've given you 51 minutes. I will talk to anybody. And by the way, I would like to just get in a comment that I do think it's very important to work as a city regionally with all of our neighbors, including the indigenous communities around us. And in fact, I'm very proud of the fact that this weekend at the Fisherman Powwow happening down here in downtown Miramichi, we'll be signing a friendship accord with our 3 indigenous neighboring communities.
Oh, really?
This is significant. It's never been done in this community's
When
history.
is this?
It'll be on the morning of the grand entry, Monday morning, around 10 o'clock at the grand entry of the powwow. And there are only a handful of these agreements signed by indigenous and non-indigenous communities across the country. And this is the beginning of a formal relationship of good intentions and to work together where we can. So, I'm a big believer in supporting indigenous rights in truth and reconciliation, and in working with our indigenous neighbors.
Did I forget anything? The drug issue that you said, discuss around the table, and homeless people.
I think you forgot to ask, Charles, about how Miramichi has become a national leader in attracting and retaining newcomers in a rural community. Perhaps.
You mean immigrants?
Yes.
How?
Well, we've got a phenomenal multicultural association who's doing a lot of the work.
They have that in Miramichi.
In Miramichi.
You mean they don't see somebody with a veil walking down and call the police?
I mean,
they don't do that? I mean, we came that much of a long. We're not behind the times, 60, 70
I think you need to spend more time in the community here. Miramichi is actually a very progressive place, Charles.
I'm just agitated here.
Well, it's working.
But it's true. Remember,
yes. Well,
I remember there was a black guy that was a guard. I'm sorry. There was a guard at the penitentiary, and he decided to buy a house in Merman Cook. Oh my God, that was 40 years ago.
Well,
people look, a black person
buy
a house, and the neighbors were all, oh my God, this is what even before the Archie Bunker, no, after the Archie Bunker thing. But anyway, what they got to know him, oh my God, what a nice guy.
We have
and
to
the racism part, it's
we just have to be past that. We are, and we certainly are in this community, and we've had some success, and in particular in the Filipino community. This past year in February, we had Miramichi's first Black History Month event with over 100 people. Last summer, we hosted the Mayor's Newcomer Welcome Barbecue for immigrants, but all newcomers, because we've had a lot of people move to Miramichi from across the country to work at the Federal Pay Center or to retire. We've had a lot of people come home, and we want people to know that this is a welcoming and inclusive community where you can be free to be yourself no matter who you are, and that you're welcome here. So that Mayor's Newcomer Welcome Barbecue last summer was the biggest welcome event in New Brunswick history. Our rates of retention for newcomers are among the highest of rural communities in the country, and we're very, very proud of that. So, you know, this old perception of the fighters across the river
or
in
Miramichi,
this is a very dated perception, and it is not the community that I live in every day. There are so many reasons to be excited about what's happening in Miramichi. There are always going to be challenges, but there are a lot of positive things happening too, and every day we look forward to moving the good things forward and addressing the hard things.
My God. And Miramichi, like I said, it's been a roller coaster ride, and we're going to keep on. What's your website? Miramichi.com?
Miramichi.org is the city's website, and I have my Adam Lordon, Mayor of Miramichi Facebook page where people can follow along with the community and what's happening there as well.
So close yet so far. How's your police force here anyway?
We actually we've recently we've been working through operational reviews of every department.
How many cops
in the city. There are 32, 33.
How come I don't see them around? I mean, I'm not looking for them, but
well, that would be why you don't see them.
But I haven't seen them.
Listen, the operational review report will be coming public very soon. So I can't say anything yet other than to say that it is a very strong endorsement of the current operations of the police department.
You don't chase, you're not like Fredericton, you don't chase people running a bicycle with no helmets. They don't waste their time on...
Well, we're encouraging more and more people to ride bicycles.
But so, they don't hunt them down, the police.
Maybe next video we can ride bikes together.
Oh, ride bikes together too, okay. This is going to be a nice relationship. What about as mayor? Are you going to put parking meters here?
There is no plan to do that.
That'll be political,
as you know,
political suicide?
I don't know. Would it? We are working on a downtown redevelopment plan, a long-term strategic plan to renew our downtowns, both downtowns, over the next 20 years. It's going to be identifying visions for public spaces.
2 years.
And also policy that we can incentivize private development. So the city can only do so much. We need private development as well. There is a parking strategy. Look, I'll tell you one thing, is that some members of this community need to understand that it is not your right to park in front of the door of the store. So we want to have a strategic thing around parking, but there's no plan to make people pay.
It's good. Okay. So we're up 57. I don't know if that's
how long do these usually go?
This usually, I don't know. I never did. Do we continue going till? Let's see if it goes.
Has anybody else ever given you an hour, Charles?
I got. You know what? Don Darling.
Yes.
Yeah, that was Mary. Oh, very good. I like him.
Yes.
I like him.
Yes.
He's a very good mayor. Fredericton. That's another story. But focus, Charles. Focus.
What are you going to say about me when you leave, Charles?
What can I say back? you don't. Usually, I'm pretty good in pretty good judgment of character sometimes. And no, you sound like you're going somewhere.
Well,
I like your envision and going, but words, action speaks louder than words.
But you know what? My mother used to say the same thing.
Yeah.
And I live, my mother is my role model and my hero, and I model myself after her.
Are we going to put a monument about Jerry Kirby, something?
Send me a proposal.
That's right, you don't even know what Miramichi means. So
listen, Jerry, by the way, was also a role model for me.
He was the first Acadian, right?
The first Acadian, well, yeah, but mind you, on a technicality, we've only ever had 5 mayors.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Right?
That's right.
But Jerry was a wonderful person. Jerry's love and passion for the community was something that I took a lot of cues from and learned from. So I think that there are already a number of memorials for Jerry. There's a scholarship.
Is there?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we always find ways to honor people. And again, I'd be very open to it if there was people that wanted to bring that to life.
Bill Fraser. I known Bill for 10 years, 10, 15, and very nice guy. Very nice guy. Very, very. Just, you couldn't ask for a nicer guy. I was surprised that he lost, but it has something to do. I couldn't believe it, or just the acting, you don't have to answer this. But when I saw the last election, and then the election bus had to turn back because of those dangerous paramedics that was waiting for him. Oh, those dangerous, mean, dangerous paramedics. I said to myself, in Miramichi, we don't fool around with people in Miramichi. And they look at that, the leader just turned back on, and that caused a lot of vote. But no, Bill Fraser, very nice guy, very nice guy. And you have some good, you got some good politician came from here. You look at that there. What's his name? John McKay.
Oh, that's Lord Beaverbrook. Donated by John McKay.
Okay, donated. That is Lord Beaverbrook. My glasses.
John's not that old.
No, but John.